After 3 weeks of fighting, Allied forces in Belgium finally repel Hitler's Ardennes offensive. And in March of 1945, they crossed the Rhine River and advanced into Germany. Desperate to halt the invasion of the fatherland, all remaining German units prepare to meet the Allies. And among them, once again, leading a unit of Panther tanks, is Ludwig Bauer.
We continued to Antwerp, and there I had to report to a Captain Atrario, a guy from Vienna. And he told me that they were expecting an American attack. And so I asked him where to position myself, and he said here and there. Position your tanks over there in defensive position, and you yourself will return with your tank, and you will take position in the middle of the village. So we took position in front of a shoemaker's house. And I have to say that we hadn't been able to leave the tank since December 17, when the whole Ardennes offensive started. And so we went to the shoemaker's house, lay down on the floor, and took a nap. And the Panther was standing in front of the house. All of a sudden I heard shots, and Americans were shouting, "Comrade, come out! The war is over!" And all the different tanks that were standing outside the village drove in, and I saw them pass by. And of course I wanted to save the tank. I made it out of the house by shimmying down the eaves trough and climbed on the tank from the back.
Und bin dann hinten rum auf den Panzer gestiegen. Plötzlich kamen 5 oder 6 Amerikaner.
Suddenly, 5 or 6 Americans jumped on the tank, and I was sitting in the driver's seat. One put his head inside the tank at the radio operator's side, and his head was maybe this much apart from mine. And I stopped breathing and thought that he would for sure hear my heart hammering. Then he just left. And the Yanks jumped off the Panther and were standing in front of it. And I thought, now or never. I started the engine and moved forward. And they jumped aside in horror. I had to drive about 22 yards up to the main road, and I left the village. I got hit by 3 bazookas, and one hit the gun mantlet.
Hat die Aufhängung der Kanone getroffen, sodass die nach
It fell forward, and the camouflage net closed the hatch.
Kanone hat die Luke zugemacht.
And I couldn't see much.
Und so viel konnte ich noch sehen. Und gegenüber standen die Panther.
And on the other side, the tanks of my own company were standing there, and a Hetzer picked me off.
Ein sturmgeschützter Hetzer, und hat mich abgeschossen. Dann kommt ein Schuss, ein Treffer.
I got hit, and the Panther started burning.
Und ich kam nicht raus.
And I couldn't get out of the tank because of the camouflage net.
Und wollte raus und
I tried to get out and just hit the net. And I was sure that that was it. And I fell back and saw the flames going through the net, and I was able to tear the net apart and could get out. I burned my ear, my back, my arm, my uniform. And this was my personal ending of the war. This was my 9th hit and my 7th injury.
Less than 2 months later, Soviet and Allied forces converge on Berlin. And on May 8, 1945, Nazi Germany surrenders. The war in Europe is over.